Hi, my name's Phil. I like talking about politics, and in this video I'd like to discuss the on-again, off-again, on-again Brexit talks. They've actually sort of taken place via teleconferencing earlier this week. But first, if you'd like to be notified of daily news and politics, then please subscribe to the channel and click the bell notification icon. So, before this latest round of talks took place, I was suggesting that although talks could in theory proceed, decisions would be difficult as other member states are rather more concerned with a current pandemic at the moment and are unlikely to find the time to be bothered about Brexit right now. Now, it appears that Michael Gove, who is chairing the talks for the UK now, wanted to emphasise how involved other nations are by saying that the call was joined in by officials from a number of EU member states in addition to the EU negotiators. Now, this technically wasn't a lie, because 1 is a number. There was some representation from Ireland. That is all. And that actually made sense, because despite what Michael Gove may have wanted to discuss, the EU have had one overriding issue on the agenda, for which the Irish would be particularly interested. What about the commitment to implement checks at the border between Great Britain and Ireland then? It seems that although Gove emphasised the UK's commitment to the Good Friday Agreement and, as importantly, the withdrawal agreement, he did not specifically name checks in that commitment. However, those checks are an integral part of the agreement. Now, it has to be said that no work has begun on implementing any infrastructure for checks anywhere in the UK. There was a statement from Gove earlier in the year that we would employ more border staff, though I'm not sure that that process has actually started properly yet. But there has been no expansion of physical infrastructure at either existing border checkports like Dover or the new ones that will need to be set up, which is of course another reason why the talks are, largely pointless in many ways, other than what little snippets we can get from them. Because what should be happening right now, according to the original timetable, is we should be having a series of discussions on how the UK and the EU want to manage cooperation on a whole range of issues, including trade, movement of goods and people, security and so on. However, what we actually have is the EU saying to the UK, hang on, you signed up to something, this withdrawal agreement, and yet publicly you're saying you're not going to do it, and you're giving us these ambiguous commitments to the withdrawal agreement, but you haven't started any work on it. What's going on there then? And there could be a couple of reasons why the UK government are not doing much about this. The first is, by saying, oh yeah, we're going to absolutely commit to the withdrawal agreement, of course we are, but without actually saying anything about checks. It could be that the UK government do intend to comply, but they don't want to publicly say so for fear of upsetting their supporters. However, as I say, as no work has actually started on complying, there isn't now time to comply by the end of 2020. The second possibility is that it's in the government's interest to blame the EU for any failure to move talks ahead, so they phrase general commitments to the withdrawal agreement without specific assurances, knowing that the EU would keep coming back to this issue. However, as I've said before, this is of no practical use. It makes no difference at all whether they get a substantial portion of the British population to blame the EU or not. Utterly irrelevant. The reality of the situation is that we will either extend the transition period or we crash out of the EU proper in 2021 without a deal. Brexit will move on from being a political situation, where this sort of posturing does have an effect, to an economic and legal situation for which their political tricks will have no impact. The UK's credit rating has already been downgraded, yet again, due to Brexit. Remember that we were on the top rating before this nonsense started. We are now several pegs down from that. And before people blame the pandemic for that downgrade, yes, of course, that's going to have an impact. But remember, credit rating is relative. This pandemic is affecting everyone's economy. The EU's credit rating remains AAA with a stable outlook. It's mostly the same for the USA. On balance, there's a little bit more disparity there between the various ratings agencies. But the outlook for the UK is negative with a AA rating now. And getting Sun and Daily Mail readers to believe that our woes are the fault of the EU isn't going to change international law or investment habits. So as things currently stand, there's only one thing being seriously discussed as far as the EU is concerned. Are the UK going to start implementing the systems needed to comply with the aspects of the withdrawal agreement concerning Ireland? Because they already should have started to do that. And until we do start doing that, there isn't going to be a way forward on anything else. Because the talks, as was said right at the start, have to be based on mutual trust. At the end of the day, if we are not actually implementing the withdrawal agreement that we signed up for and came into force February this year, then what is the point in proceeding further? And we haven't started to do anything. We haven't done anything at all. So I'm going to suggest that we are still on course for only two eventualities on the 1st of January 2021. One, we're either still in the EU systems. That means extending the transition period. Or those Brexit boneheads get to see what WTO terms really are. So there it is. Hope you found the video interesting. If you did, don't forget to click the like button. If you'd like to support the channel further, then please also click the Patreon link for details. And until next time, I'll see you later.